Alright, this is chapter 14, section 5. We're going to find the measures of angles that are formed by tangents, and we're going to look at the relationships between the intercepted arcs and the angle that they create. After you watch this video, you should do page 856, numbers 1 through 7. So your homework, again, is page 856, numbers 1 to 7. Alright, so what we're going to find out today is we're going to look at angles formed by tangents. Just like when we had angles formed by secants, it's kind of like the same thing. So there are three different scenarios here. You can have them where they meet on the circle. So here, this is a secant, this is a tangent, they meet on the circle. This is a secant, this is a tangent, it meets on the circle, and these two are two tangents. Okay, so our first case is whenever it meets on the circle, and it's the same as any other time that it meets on the circle. When it meets on the circle, you just divide it in half. So 65 divided by 2 is 32.5. So the measure of this angle that we're looking at right here, the measure of that angle is 32 and 5/10 degrees. So again, to get that answer, I just took my 65 and I divided it in half, because the angle is half of the intersected arc. Okay, and then we have ones where we have a secant and a tangent that meet outside the circle. And whenever it meets outside the circle, it's the same as if we had two secants meeting outside the circle. I would take my 140, I would subtract the 57, okay, that's going to equal 83 degrees, and I would take the 83 and divide it in half, and I get 41 and 5/10 degrees. So the measure of this angle out here is 41 and 5/10 degrees. Okay, this one again is half the two intercepted arcs, but the difference is two tangents intercept the whole circle. So since this is 360 degrees, or excuse me, 160 degrees, and the whole circle is 360 degrees, that can't be right. Okay, the 160 needs to go in here. Okay, and then this one out here would be the 200 degrees, because 360 subtract 160 is 200. So then what I do is I take the 200, I'm going to subtract the 160. That's going to give me 40 degrees. And after I get that, I'm going to divide it in half. So angle M would be about 20 degrees. So it's really not a lot different. The only thing different on this one is that whenever I add these two intercepted arcs together, I'm going to get 360 degrees. 160 plus 200 gives me 360. Okay, and that's basically all it is. Again, it looks very much like the one that we did before. This one, you just divide it in half. This one, you're going to subtract and then multiply by 1/2. This one, the x and y together are going to equal 360. Once you figure out what x and y is, again, you subtract and you multiply by 1/2. Now that you've finished watching the video, please go back to your book and do problems 1 through 7 on page 856.